Hello, my loved ones. Hello, my friends, family, family of light, the divine ecstasy of universal goodness is upon us, is with us every day, every moment, as long as we choose to stay in complete alignment with our God consciousness, our God inner strength, our supreme God divine, always victorious oneness with. Yeah, my name's Jeff Hubble. I come out to the forest often, share videos, stories, teaching songs, some about my many travels in my earlier life, and some about my inner travels now on the inner planes with the Ascended Masters, with the Elohim consciousness, the 7 Elohim, builders of form, high angelic realms, the archangels, Ascended Masters, starting with the I Am Presence, the God spark, the God self within, is how we always start. So, I've done a lot of things in my life. I lived with Native people for 20 years. I've traveled. I lived in quite a few states. I've learned a lot. I've studied Tibetan Buddhism and Kundalini Yoga and many tools and techniques and healing modalities such as craniosacral and acupressure, natural healer type person. Anything to help those, my loved ones in need at any time, And it took me forever, took me my whole life to learn all this stuff. Been working at it, been working on it, been working on myself. Started off a pretty nervous, scared human being. A lot of nightmares, a lot of self-esteem issues, a lot of empathic sensitivities to my feelings and getting my feelings heard and learning to not share honestly my feelings like many people, like many children. And so I see myself not unlike many sensitives today. I work a full-time job, which is good for me, very grounding. I'm an earth sign. But I do so much spiritual work, so much ceremony, so much mystery studies that working keeps me grounded. Even though I'm working on, making it easier on myself like most people are and today in this world. So weekend, I'm out playing and enjoying. Got a forest here full of mosquitoes after the big hurricane, tropical storm Debbie a few weeks ago. The forest is saturated. Most of the trails are closed. But I put on vanilla extract, something I heard on YouTube. And man, it seems to work. Real vanilla extract, vanilla bean. It's like all of a sudden I just put on another dose and all of a sudden they completely left me alone. And I was being swarmed. So A lot of things have happened since my last transmission, which was only, oh my God, it was only a week ago. Lionsgate, I guess it's 10 days. And so I want to sing for a second, invite the ancestors, invite the cosmic consciousness, the cosmic Christ, the cosmic hand, blue flame, blue lightning, fires of the central sun, fires of the ascended masters, fires of the I Am Presence, the Elohim, meaning they come as sparks, they come as rays of light, they come as powers that are best described, they best describe them as fires. And the native people will say, this is our sacred fire, it's called a fire without end. Never-ending fire, I always thought that meant the native people will never end. And of course that means that, but it also means that they have a knowledge. They have a sight and a seeing. They're so spiritual, native people are so spiritual. It's been hard for them to live in this world with the way things have been for them, the struggle. But spiritually, they are connected to all the realms. They translate it through earth wisdom, though, their own history. But when they say fires without end, that's exactly what the Ascended Masters say, coming from the sun, the central sun, which is the sacred etheric sun, which is the real sun behind the physical. You know, in this universe, there's physical, but there's ethereal, mental, and feeling world. And that's what we call four lower bodies down here. We have we endeavor to balance out the four lower bodies: emotional, mental, etheric, and physical. Etheric means spiritual, basically. So once those are balanced out, it's like body, mind, spirit. It's like head, heart, and hands. It's like the wisdom from on high in our hearts, wisdom from the center of the earth up into our hearts. The Mother, the Father God, Mother Earth. Everything in balance. Everything in homeostasis. Everything in equilibrium. Everything in harmonic balance. Walk in balance on Mother Earth. And they say, the Ascended Masters say, purity and harmony are the same. If you're in harmony, you're in purity. If you're in purity, you're in harmony. We call down love's indestructible purity, love's indestructible perfection, love's indestructible innocence from the great I Am in the center of the universe, central sun. I can't help saying it because they say it all the time. They talk about purity, perfection, innocence. Perfection meaning they encourage us to continually honor, send waves upon waves upon waves of love to your I Am Presence, your mighty I Am Presence, which is your higher self, your God consciousness within, the spark of God, oneness with the inner voice of God, otherwise known to them as the mighty beloved I Am Presence, the I Am that I am. And they say, as you glorify the I Am within, as you glorify the God's self. You ask before you make a move, you ask I am first. I am, go before me, make the crooked places straight. Show me what I should do on this next endeavor. Pray for protection. I pray for safety. I pray for assurance. I pray for supply, the abundance. I pray for all good, only good, to transcend and to be present around this project, around this next endeavor, this family reunion, this spiritual study, this job, this person I'm going to help, or meetings with people, everything. You got to say, I am, go before me. I am, show me the way. God, show me. Christ, show me. Divine wisdom, show me. They're all one. They're all one. It's just a language that they use. They use a different language. It's like they say perfection a lot. And the reason is because these are all the teachings they used. These are all the teachings they received from their master teachers that gave them their enlightenment, that gave them their transfiguration, resurrection, and ascension out of the body. They call it raising the body. Raising the body, because in their way, when they walk out of the body, they take the body with them. And in their viewing, you know, it can be a blink. It could be you wake up, and when they've come to, they're in the physical. They're in a physical octave, but it's a higher octave. It's ascended masters. They said they're as real there as we are here. They said, actually, we're more real here than you are there. It's like, whoa, because there's no discord. There's no duality. There's no polarity. There's no lower vibrational energies, thoughts, feelings, and beings running around. Let's talk about heaven on earth, in heaven. And they have these etheric retreats around the world. They'll tell you above Mount Shasta, above Angola, Africa, above Darjeeling, India, above Mount Fuji, above Uluru, Ayers Rock, Australia. There's even one above St. Louis, of all places. It's called the Retreat of, and there's a master that guides each of these retreats called Chamuel, Archangel Chamuel, and his twin flame Charity. It's odd names, but this is the way it is. You haven't heard much about this, so it's like, what? That's ridiculous. Nah. Well, why? Because the powers that be, the powers that were, didn't want us to know that stuff. So they yanked all that out of the Bible. They yanked all that out of the teachings. They tried to block it in every which way. They call it sinister forces. Tried to stop the messengers. But these amazing teachings have come forth. These guys have been here 14,000 years, 70,000 years, 500,000 years, working on the etheric planes. They're such a higher vibration. They're like angels. They're like masters. They're like cosmic beings. And we have free will here, so we had the right to do the free will stuff, and they couldn't interfere because this was our place. This was our place to try to become the highest versions of ourselves and bring heaven on earth throughout history. Well, there's been sinister polarities, light and dark and all that, all this time. Those that have lined to the dark, those that have come from the, higher, lower, whatever, the star races and all these different things that have gone on in this world throughout our history. And history is written by the victors. They did whatever they wanted. They taught us whatever they wanted in school. They changed things. Our science, so many things have been, psychology and psychiatry are known to be half-truths, all for the purpose of the sinister forces to continue to have power, continue to see the world the way they wanted us to see it. And that's been the debt slave system for the last 2,000 years, or 6,000 years, since Babylonia, Sumeria. They said the money system we use is called a black magic money system. It's about loss. It's not really about gain. It is about gain also. People can gain and all that, but they kept that wisdom, those truths for the elites. You know, how do you think they got so rich? Somehow. And how do you think we've all kept us dumbed down? What do you call that? Slave debt system? Working 50, 40 hours a week. Working... A lot of people say they work 80 hours a week to get their 100,000, 200,000 a year and all that. And those are the ones that work for corporations. Those are the ones with degrees, and the rest of us. So, well, it chose the way things are for us before we came here. Why? So that we could do God's work, so we could stay close. Because when you're, they say good times, hard times then create good times. The good times create lazy times. Lazy times create hard times, because somebody's going to come in and exploit whatever can be exploited. So, but the point I say that is that's the way things have been. That's the way things have been. But things are changing dramatically. Things are changing massively. Things are changing behind the scenes. And they've been changing for a long time. But the masters have told us to keep quiet. Teach each other. Yeah, teach the world. Wake up the world. Yeah, that's true. But don't continue to be humble. Continue to be safe. Continue to be one with the divine intelligence of Supreme God Divine, always victorious. And that's prayer, that's meditation, that's ceremony, that's quiet time, that's the inner realm, knowing that the truth is within. We have all the answers within. And sure, that's wisdom books and wisdom teachings and ceremony and being with others, of course. We're not here to do this alone. Although I do my videos alone. That's just the way it's just another example of 5, 6, 7 years now I've been alone. I do ceremony with people. I have to travel for that. Here, I don't have too many friends. I have a job I've stuck with. And I always wondered, because I've always been a gregarious and very much a social person. Well, I had to go through my dark night of the soul, which many of us have had to do in these times and are going through now. Dark night of the soul, shadow work, facing your deepest fears. It's said that humanity's hitting the lowest levels of the subconscious mind now. And why? So some of us, we just have to be by ourselves. We have to be strong. And that's how we're learning. We're not out there serving. We're not being codependent in relationships. We're not being people pleasers. We're not, because the high vibrational people are so loving that that's what they do, is they give. They'll give. They give the shirt off their back. They continually give. They continually take care of people. They continually, have working careers that are healing based. And so you're always, right? You're always focused on that. Well, the Creator has taken many of us through a wave of inner journey to learn who we really are, to learn who the I Am Presence is, to really learn that, to really learn the Zen and Master teaching, to really learn the overcome our fears, to really learn how to face our worst enemy, that of the self, that of the self sabotage, or self-esteem, or clearing out the data banks, clearing out the cells, clearing out the past lives, clearing out the mass mind control of toxic food, toxic thought, toxic media and television, mind control of the ages. And then of recent came the nanotechnologies, the AI, computers, and then AI. Well, the sinister forces embedded all that stuff with everything they could to harm us, try to hurt us, try to destroy us. COVID, manufactured. The vaccines, we won't even go into that this time. And in our foods, nanotechnology, which is tiny, tiny, microscopic, whatever they are, bugs or little whatever, that try to control us. Well, why? Why did all this happen? Because Barbara Marciniak will tell you, she wrote an amazing 2 books about the Pleiadians back in the 80s called Bringers of the Dawn and Pleiadian Keys to the Living Library. Earth, being a living library, has the greatest DNA from all over the universe. It's a major hub, it's a major center, it's a major important place in the cosmos for many reasons. And that the Earth has been fought over since the beginning, virtually. And that she even goes so far as to say there was a war in space over Earth. And we hear these things about Anunnaki, reptilians, the Greys that were abducting people in the 80s, 90s, all that. Well, before that, you didn't hear much about that. The planet's been seeded long ago by good beings. Most of us have Pleiadian genetics in us. Pleiadians are human-looking, we're human-looking. But there's the Lyrans, the Sirians, the Andromedans, the Arcturians, the Venusians, Cassiopeians, Ascended Masters, wisdom beings have been guiding us. The Christ consciousness realms, Divine Mother, India, Shiva, Krishna, Vishnu, Rama. Everybody knows, you watch Ancient Aliens and TikTok now, that you find out that these were gods. These were ancient, masterful beings, most likely star travelers, alien high beings. And I don't like the word used, alien, because we say star people. Native way, we say star people. Grandpa Wallace, 6'5", with his cowboy hat and his boots, straight from the Lakota Reservation, South Dakota. With his hat and his boots, he looked 7 foot tall, mountain of a man. But he wore jeans, cowboy hat, boots, right off the res, and he would talk about the star people. All his lectures around the country, around the world, 80s, 90s. You still find him on YouTube. Grandfather Wallace Black Elk. Many others, but he's one that I studied with a long time. adopted father to my first wife, Mary Thunder, and Sundance Chief. He pierced me. You weepy man. He says, and most of the native cultures believe they're descendants from the Pleiades. Most of them. And he says, every once in a while he would say, 19th generation Lakota, 10 generations on this planet, 9 on Pleiades. And we'd say, we were in the crowd, real young. What? What do you say? Oh my God. Your 20s, you know, that age. It's like, oh my God, are you kidding me? So, yeah, this wisdom. And so, it was only in the star people started showing themselves in the 40s and 50s again. The native people always known about it, seen them, stars. They were star watchers. The greatest astronomers, priests, like the Mayans, Pacal and Palenque. Great star watchers like the Skiddy Pawnee of Nebraska. They have all these deer hide star charts that are in museums, some in private collections. And they said that they knew where they were from and that they came from a constellation of stars surrounding the pole star, Polaris. The pole star, the one that doesn't move, the one that you follow in the north. When you're lost in the woods, you look for the North Star. And it's the Great Dipper, Ursa Major, the bear. The Big Dipper travels around it all night in a circle. And if you're lost in the woods, you look at the Big Dipper and you look at there's the pan part, not the handle, but the pan at the point of it. It points right to the North Star. It's like that far off in the sky. And all night long it circles it as the Earth travels, you know, around in a circular, in a 24-hour period. Rotates on its axis. And so the Skiddy Pawnee said that they would put their teepees all in a circle pointing to the rising sun, and they call it the Council of Elders, and that the star that the constellation they're from, which is the constellation that surrounds Polaris, I can't think of it right now, but they call it the Council of Chiefs. And so they've always known. 40s and 50s, star people started showing up again. And all these, that's when the sci-fi saucer movies started coming out and all these books started coming out. Well, because when we started setting off nuclears, you know, we were gifted the power of the knowledge of the sun and the central sun, the atom. That's the greatest power in the universe. That's why the sun dance, greatest, highest ceremony on this planet, the power of the sun. But the sinister aspect of humanity took that, split that atom, turned it into the atom bomb, tested it all over in oceans and out west, and poor people, poor native peoples on their lands, and then Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and star people started showing up, and they said, look, we haven't had this free will planet, we haven't had the right to come in here, but now we can, because what you're doing is going to reverberate around this universe, and it's going to affect all of us throughout this cosmos, on every dimension, timeline. It's total danger. And so they started talking, and some of the main people that they talked to were scientists. Dr. Daniel Fry, scientist. George Van Tassel. They said Tesla. Talked to them. Trying to think of the names. George Williamson. These are all names you could look up. And another guy, I can't think of, one guy wrote a book that they took him in the saucers. His vibration was so high, he was born that way. Well, everything's not so much predestined as it was. We chose everything before we came here, all our lessons anyways. How we walk through the world is free will, but our highest lessons, our highest potential is, so these guys were meant to get these messages at a certain time to put them out back into the world so people would start believing, so we could hopefully save the planet from nuclears. And so, nuclear destruction. They even believe in ancient India that there's these wars and these beings would fight and they would send these flaming rockets, gourds, and the Hopis talk about the gourd of ashes prophecy that would turn everything to dust and everybody would lose their hair and teeth, eyelashes fall out. And in India, they believe that they used these bombs that massively destroyed these cities like Dwarka. Nothing left but dust. Ancient, 32,000 years and all this ago. And they flew around in these things called Vimanas, which they were figured out how to make flying ships. Vimanas, look that up. Well, modern times. So how did the Greys and those start to do these abductions on animals and humans and do these hybrids and insert things and put implants in people? Well, I can tell you one thing, Native Americans didn't have that experience. It was never Native Americans that this happened to because we were too high vibrational. Our ceremonies were too powerful. We knew where we came from. The Peace Pipe, the White Buffalo Calf Woman, descendants of the Pleiades, we always had those ceremonies that were ancient tools and techniques and ancient technology. And part of that, ingrained in that technology, was how to protect ourselves from evil. In the Ascended Master teachings, different than the Native teachings, but they said you call on us. You call on the Ascended Master. You call on the Mighty I Am Presence, and this is a technology. The Mighty I Am Presence, host of Ascended Masters, the Elohim, the Archangels, the cosmic beings, the great cosmic light, the elementals, the wisdom of the earth, the technology of the plants, and the healing. All the endless thousands of herbal plants that are here for our healing. You think that was an accident? No, it wasn't. And so, my staff back here, my little staff. And so you honor those, you acknowledge those things, and when you do that, they automatically hear you. They are always waiting. It's like anything, knock on the door shall be open, ask and you shall receive. Metatron, his book, said you take one step towards us, we take 1,000 towards you. So you have to pray, you have to ask, you have to decree, you have to affirm, you have to meditate and be receptive, receive the teachings. Get in those deep breathing states. The chanting. The singing. Way away, way away, way away. Ate waka tonka, hey oh hey oh hey. Ate waka tonka, hey oh hey oh hey. Ate waka tonka, oshe mela ye yo. Hoyate, hoyate zanichi pehelo, hoya hoye wayelo hey. That's traditional Lakota lineage. Weya heya ya, weya heya ya, weya we hey, Way ya hey ya ya, way ya hey ya ya, way ya hey yo, way hey, way ya hey ya ya, way ya hey ya yo, way yo way. Tonkashilaya hoye wa yinkte namako Elohe. Makasatom niya hoye wa yinkte namako Elohe. Mitakue o bwanikte lohe palohe. We're not here to prove anything to anyone. We're not here for people to decide whether we're crazy or not. Culture, wisdom, knowledge. Just because you didn't learn it before now, just because you didn't see it on television, that's the first thing that, before it'd be like, well, how do we know it's true then? Well, now it's the opposite. We know, well, if we didn't learn on television, then we know there's a hell of a lot more out there for the truth that is not being told to us. Been hidden history, they call it. Hidden archaeology. So many, the giants and the bones and the massive sacred things that have been found, they were all turned over to the museums, right? Way back, last 2 centuries. And then, for some reason, the United States Smithsonian Institution always wanted everything. They said, oh yeah, well that's the government, they've got to give it to them. So they give it to them. It all disappears. There's not one giant, not one bone anywhere, except for maybe private collections. Just disappear, just incinerated through the Smithsonian. Watch a couple of lengthy videos about the giants of America, and you'll know exactly what I'm saying. The controllers, so. But we always had this wisdom. Why do you think they shut down the Native Americans? Why do you think they shut down? Why do you think they didn't let through the Son of Master Teachers? Why do you think that this world let China take over Tibet? One of the greatest high wisdom, light being cultures ever. Just mountain monks. 1 million were incarcerated or killed over the time. The Dalai Lama's people from the monasteries when the Chinese took over Tibet in the 1950s and 60s, all the way up. They had to run. And the Dalai Lama stayed to the very end, the very, very end. I have a very vivid past life of being there. And as the Dalai Lama left, he said, we gotta go, Master, we gotta go now. They're right over the next ridge, the Chinese army. And if you know the high Himalayas, we're talking snow covered. They had to travel through snow passes. Luckily they knew how to get out, but as soon as he got to into the valleys, the sacred valleys on the other sides where the sun was shining and the grass was growing, he had seeds and he would stop and he'd plant flowers and make prayers for his people. And the military and the warriors, his warriors, and there was also supposedly United States CIA that was helping him get him out of there. These are the CIA of the good, of course, which was probably few and far between. Don't know how that worked, but because I know a man that was part of that team, or I knew a woman, older grandmother lady, who knew the man. Anyways, he would stop again, plant, pray for his people, plant flowers. And they would say, gotta keep going, Master. Gotta keep going. They're still on our trail. Talk about great adventures. And so when we travel around and we do these videos, and we travel all the years I travel with Mary Thunder and the elders and all around the country and all around the world, teaching, sharing the wisdom of the ancestors, and what little I knew at the time. I was more liaison. I was more of a helper. I was errand boy back then. Helper, you know, the younger ones are helpers, and the whole time you're learning, and later on you become a young elder, teacher, sharing. It's your turn. It's how it works in the lineage. And they said, Larry Thunder would always say, we're like the Dalai Lama, we're planting seeds. Everywhere we go, planting seeds. We may never see those flowers bloom. We may never see the results, but that's our job, plant seeds. All the teachers that have gone out around the world, indigenous and not indigenous, and send a master teachings. And so, it's a lineage, the native way. All the cultures around the world, it's a lineage. You learn that way. So, the native, we learn the songs. We learn the ceremonies. We learn the way of life and the cultural correctness. And that's been passed down and passed down and passed down and passed down and passed down. Thousands of years. Native people are the same as they were. It's like Christ consciousness, Christ wisdom. They may have changed the Bible and all that, interpret it, but Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Ascended Masters, same yesterday, today, tomorrow. It's a lineage that you connect to. It's not per se the teachings. I mean, it is. Teachings is what we have, but when you connect to them, they connect to you. So as soon as you start doing these things, you're learning the lineage, and this is the same teachings they use to take them to raise the body, take them out of the wheel of karma into the freedom, the ascension, where they never have to reincarnate again, ever. And many of them don't. They're there. They're in the freedom space, and that they want that for us. So they teach from there. So all the times I say stuff about Ascended Masters, I'm talking their lineage, I'm talking their wisdom, they're talking through me at different points. Even if I teach what they taught and they were taught that, I'm teaching, I'm sharing, I'm speaking for them, I'm speaking as them. They actually call us the Ascended Master. They call us Ascended Master Youth. I always thought it was Ascended Master students. They say, you guys Ascended Master Youth. And they're tough teachers. They say over and over in the writings, you better stay with this I am and let the I am lead you. Let the masters. Otherwise, if you choose not to, then you can go back to the world. Let the world teach you, knock you around, go into the suffering, go back into your little inner consciousness wars, and then maybe you'll remember us again. And so, better off staying aligned to the tradition. Like yoga and Kundalini yoga. You wouldn't make up your own yoga poses. You wouldn't make up your own Kundalini yoga techniques. No, Kriya yoga. You got to be initiated into that. You can't even do it on your own. There's no place to find out without having the teacher showing you, giving you the download, the transmission, like I was telling you about the Tibetan masters. So once you get the download, the transmission, it's in you. And you never fall back again. It's one of the great things about the master consciousness teaching, mystery school teachings around the world, ancient cultures, is that when you reach a state, you never go down again. Once you reach a level, you cannot be taken down again. You're there. Your consciousness has been raised. Higher fourth dimension, fifth dimensional, sixth, up to the 12th dimensions. You reach these ones, parallel realities, or soul travel, bilocation, being in two places at once. Many people do that. Mahavatar Babaji, the famous, they say he's actually Ascended Master, but was the one that brought back the Kriya Yoga, which was ancient from Krishna and Vishnu Shiva. Thousands of years he channeled it back through, and he's an immortal. He doesn't die. He doesn't Himalayas. He shows up. There's stories with writings about him, or they said Babaji showed up, came in town in the village, and he was an old man, and he was given blessings, and all these magical things were happening. And then somebody said, no, Babaji showed up on our side of our village, and he was a young man yesterday, and he was doing all these blessings. Two places at once. It's not like he does it every day, but these things would happen. But he's out there every day. Read about him. Ma Avatar Babaji. And so, I often say soul travel or etheric travel. I don't say astral travel anymore. The Ascended Master's teachings say, whatever you do, don't go into the astral plane. Avoid the astral plane, which is the very next up here, which is the dream state, or not so much a dream state, but it's like a plane of the negativity, of all the negativity that has happened throughout our millions of years. It's just floating around like a smog around LA. It's like, so how do you avoid it? And they say when we need to come to you, we burrow right through that level into your consciousness. Don't worry about that. You just put on your armor of God, your protection before you go to sleep, before you go into meditation these days. Archangel Michael talks about this. And you just shoot through that. It's not like a physical level. It's like a thought level of consciousness. And you go into the etheric, you go into the cosmic, the galactic, you go into the, Ascended Master, archangels, angelic realms. They said that. But if you're just going to float around and take drugs, and you're going to, just go on, I'm going to astral travel and go in the astral plane. They say no. They said there's so many. If you knew the level of sinister force beings that are sitting there waiting to pounce on you, and they are the culmination of all the worst of the worst. Ascended Master writings actually said from 1950s, this particular one said, it is where the whole culmination of the Antichrist consciousness is housed. Now, and then they said, now if that doesn't tell you to avoid the astral plane, nothing will. So you got to think carefully of what I just said, because there's so many teachings about astral travel and traveling, astral this, astral that, and all this. The Solfeggio, the frequencies, listen to this one, 417, and astral travel makes it easier. Well, all I'm telling you is what's come to me over months and months and months. I'd say 2 solid years now of the teachings. Okay? And they said, you just make that prayer, basically. Put that light around you and say, just avoid that level, God. Take me up into the higher realms. It's simple, but they warn you, because that darkness is there, and it wants to get us. And the dark witches, the magicians, the sorcerers, the politicians, the greatest use is in the negative political arenas used today. And that does not include Trump. So now you know where I stand. And I can explain the whole thing about that. Why? That'll be in the next talk. That'll be another talk. I'll blow your mind. It's all connected to everything I've said today. So, the dark witches, the lower level negative ETs, they use the astral plane. They float up there, they leave their body, and they attack people in the night. Sexual dreams, try to possess people, the succubus, incubus. And I don't mean to be terrifying you guys, but this is all real stuff we have to deal with on a regular basis. Daily, it's still a war on consciousness. So they float down and they try to, I heard it said they try to merge with whoever their victim is. They're trying to manipulate, control, and possess and vampire off their energy. They merge with them while they're sleeping. It's all karma. Everything they do, every being that's done anything negative ever has created karma. They say 3 times, 10 times. They're just ending their life early. They're destroying themselves. God, they still have free will to get away with it to a certain extent, but it's all what comes back as karma. We're trying to build good karma. Dharma, the good people. What goes around comes around, what you put out. Treat others the way you want to be treated, and right? All the teachings that way. We know what's right, what's wrong. And if not, we try to repent and we try to get right with God, and we try to, one of the greatest powers, even the Ascended Masters say, is to self-correction. Self-correction. Jesus even said, the woman in adultery, they're going to stone her. Who among you doesn't have sin? Throw the first stone. And he said, you go, go and sin no more. And basically what that was is compassion, is saying, learn your lesson, learn, grow. Do not continue to be in the addictions, money, power, ego, sex. So I know you've been wondering about what I was going to say about the Greys and the reptilians, Anunnaki. Well, it's a whole talk, but I was talking about, we don't know all the presidents of this last era and the leaders around the world, we don't know who's the good guy and who the bad guys were. Many of them were compromised, either blackmailed or manipulated power, got to them, all that stuff, we know that. Illuminati and what's the other name? Deep State. So they said that in the 1950s, Eisenhower, who was a war leader, he was General Eisenhower, became president in World War II. He was good at what he did in the war. And they said, this is when the aliens started showing up, and they started recovering these crashed ships, which is the Roswell and Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, and Bristol, wherever it was. A bunch of them all around the world. Can't think of all the different names, but so they retrieved all these saucers, and that's, they took them. There's a movie called Hangar 18 from the 70s. It's a really cool movie. It's about the Roswell recovery and all the cover-ups around it, and Hangar 18. And then you got Area 51 out in Nevada. Super secretive. So what they did was they got the ships, and they got the scientists to reverse engineer, work on reverse engineering. It took them years to reverse engineer in order to get all the technology off the ships, which was also to get them and learn how to fly them and use them. And they said most of these UFOs we've been seeing for the last few decades, a lot of those are earthbound ships from our governments, our secret governments, dark side of the governments. There's a light and dark in everything. Religion, Vatican, Washington, D.C., governments, shamanism, light and dark, right? Natives. So just because we live on a dualistic planet. So they reverse engineered all these, got all the technology off them. Well, a lot of these ships had bodies, and most of them were dead, but there was a few of them that were still alive. EB-1 just popped in my head as one of the names. He was from one of these crashed UFOs way back, and there's even you find the videos, and they said that some of them said we're you from the future, come back in time, try to help you save your planet. And some of them were grays, and some of them were lower vibrational entities that were trying to, I don't know, keep the vibration down on the planet. Well, they said, we will exchange knowledge with you. And this is, they had telepathic communication with the ships and da-da-da-da-da. And they said, this is the bad side of it all, not the good side. This is the bad side. And they said, with the story with Eisenhower was, we will exchange our knowledge and wisdom if you will give us free will to not stop us from abducting people and taking the DNA. And for all the reasons. Some of them had their planets were being destroyed. They needed human DNA and et cetera, and some of them were just to try to keep the planet down, a lower vibration, keep power and control connected to all the sinister forces like that. And supposedly the government at the time said, okay. And all these abductions started, cattle mutilations and all this. And they got all this knowledge and wisdom about the saucers. This is when the space age started. And it was idiotic. It was wrong. It was bad. But these guys, these are the power elites that were, the Masonics, the dark side of the Masonics. And they wanted more power every which way. Money, power, ego, sex. They wanted all that. That's why I warn you guys. Don't get addicted into money, power, ego, sex, because then you get aligned to that sinister force. Then you get aligned to that lineage of darkness. Even the Ascended Masters say, don't even tell a white lie. If you tell a white lie, you're aligning with the law of the sinister forces. So all this is connected. So be good. There's no reason not to. The purer you are, the better, the gooder you are, the more godly you are. The more faith, the more prayer, the more you turn to God, you turn to your higher self, your I am presence, the more God consciousness. So I did share that, and the Pleiadians and the Andromedans, Arcturians, the higher vibrationals, the Sirians, they seeded us long ago. Supposedly we all have these lineages, DNA within us, and they have battled these forces all along in space to try to keep Earth in balance. If we knew really what was going on, if we knew what some of these great masters have sacrificed and gone through for us to have the stability we have on this planet, Saint Germain, one of the great highest beings ever, Sanat Kumara said in the writings, he said, if you knew what Saint Germain went through to bring through the violet fire and to become who he is, that Ascended Master, the suffering that he went through, like Christ, he said, this was what it said. It said, you'd get on your knees in prostration to the universe in gratitude for the rest of eternity. Something like that. If you knew what these guys have gone through, Saint Germain went through, all the end of lifetimes. So it's been a process for them too, to become. And now this is the lifetime where we're able to benefit from all of the suffering that's gone on, and all the hardship and all the war on consciousness for our planet. And now what happened is that the vibration of the planet, all of us, how did we get the Greys out of here as reptilians and all that, was that we started, all of the good people started coming back. 4.5 million starseeds, supposedly half of the population of the world is here for the good. Over half come starseeds that have wisdom, they have knowledge, they have advanced DNA to help this next, to help us to springboard into the next fifth dimension, new age, 1,000 years of peace, Aquarian age, 26,000 year, the new Mayan calendar, all of it. The 7th generation of the Lakota, the Great One's return, prophecy. And so the vibration of the planet was raised by all these beings coming on, meaning you and I coming onto this planet, doing our work, being godly, raising our vibration in our family, healing our family of the genetic wounds, 7 generations forward, 7 generations back. We're the black sheep, changing the genetic, the abuse. It all stops with us. As we do that, each and every person in the family, the vibration raised so high that the Greys couldn't be here anymore. The vibration raised beyond their reach, lower 3rd dimension or whatever it was, and raised beyond the reptilians, and all of the higher dimensionals of light have been, kicking them, battling them out of here, and the Anunnakis, over this time. That's a whole nother story. I've been researching this for half my life. I don't just learn it from ancient aliens. I get it from the elders, I get it from the deep mystery teacher, I get it from my soul, I get it from my higher self, I get it from my future self. So we're actually doing good. I guess it was just a history lesson today. We're doing good. They said all you got to do, the master said, basically is to stay the course. Please stay the course. Stay in your own lane. Do what you're here to do. Work on yourself. Stay vigilant. Stay alert and awake. Keep waking up. Wake up others as you can. But mostly, stay with your lineage, stay with your teachings, expand yourself, learn about quantum physics, learn about, higher consciousness stuff. Get up with the sun. Learn how to do ceremony, do prayer, honor the 4 directions, and learn to spin your Merkaba. Learn pranayama breathing. Learn to move the kundalini up the spine. Listen to the Ascended Master teachings. They're all over. It's called the I Am Discourses. I Am Discourses. I Am Discourses. Every subject out there you can study, and they have their own lingo. They have their own language. Yeah, you have to learn that a little bit, but just listen. I let it roll all night long, and the wisdom that comes through. Not only is it beyond the beyond, they said this is the greatest wisdom. Nothing of humanity can teach you. Nothing of it. The humans here, only from the godly, from the highest level mastery, are you going to learn that which is going to protect you, save you, give you perfect life, give you that you will walk without lack. The sinister force will never bother you the whole rest of eternity. It starts with the honoring of the I Am Presence teachings. The I Am, the God in you. You can say it however you want, but you say it that way, and you're walking in that lineage. So I really wanted to say something. Hold on. Really something I want to say. It's all connected. Oh, why did they say that you couldn't learn anything? They said all of humanity put together couldn't save you. It has to come from on high. They said, why? Because we're entering now the 7th and permanent golden age. This is the permanent golden age, the highest vibration this planet's ever had. But we've had 6 golden ages before, such as Atlantis, Lemuria, Hyperborea, things we don't even know, but they know. They say, but guess what? They all went down. They said the wisdom, you're remembering now the wisdom of the first age, golden age, and the second golden age. There was a great civilization where the Amazon is, great civilization where the Gobi Desert is in Mongolia. There was a great civilization where the Sahara Desert is in Arabia. Why do you think they're deserts now? They were destroyed. They say by the sinister forces, but we did it. We let ourselves go down. We are the ones that bought into the lower vibrational somehow over these 6 golden ages. This is what this said. And how's that possible? If somebody comes along, sneaks in all their sinister ways and all their disguised as the good imposters, and they say, let me give you these teachings, let me give you these teachings. Okay, I'll follow you. And they say, here, you just need to do this. What? And they say, well, we'll give you eternal life, we'll give you freedom and all you gotta do is what? Sell your soul, sign your name in blood, sacrifice children. Oh, okay, we'll do all that. This is the previous 6 ages, or something like that, right? I mean, we've seen it in our lifetime. So they said, but when you line up with the highest, the Pleiadian teachings of the Native Americans, the old original, like the peace pipe, Chinoopa still exists, the 4 directions, the sacred dances, sun dance. Yeah. And you still have to be alert, awake and aware when you're walking those paths, because the darkness can get in, break through your defenses, so the Ascended Masters have all these fail-safes, teachings, how to protect yourself, how to manifest supply abundance, how to stay true, and you use them, you use the connection, and then they come to you. They send a radiation, they send a dispensation, they send their heart fire love from on high directly to you, because you're connecting directly to them. It's just like Christ. Line up with Christ, the Bible, and Mary, then you're going to be, the Holy Spirit. You're going to be feeling that Holy Spirit. But this is even Christ is Ascended Master, so he's one of them. He had the last 2,000-year reign of the Piscean age. Now it's the Aquarian age, and the master of the Aquarian age, Saint Germain, going forward, teachings. These are the teachings going forward in the next 2,000 years. You mark my words, 20 years from now, you'll say that guy was right 20 years ago. Woo! Some of us are ahead of the curve. Why? Because that was our mission. That was our mission work. So call me crazy. Call me a dreamer. Call me, well, what if you're not? What if what you're talking about is sinister force activity? I said, you're never going to know unless you study it. You're never going to know unless you watch these videos. You're never going to know until you read these teachings that came through in 3 waves. The 1930s with Guy Ballard, Godfrey Ray King and his wife Lotus Ray King. 1950s was Geraldine Innocente, brought through the Bridge to Freedom materials. They're called the Green Books, all these massive volumes. In the 1970s with Mark and Claire Prophet and the Summit Lighthouse teachings. Yeah, notice every 20 years apart. And now it's coming through again, through all of the Ascended Master groups. I Am, they call them the I Am teachings, the I Am groups around the world. I'm part of that. Saved my life. About 2 years ago, I started having visions of these guys. It's this really powerful. I called it my glow up. I called it my resurrection, like Christ on the mount, where he went up there in his garment, he floated up into the heavens, and the other two of the disciples couldn't see. It was so bright. He said his garment was whiter than any fuller could whiten. I looked it up, and it meant a fuller is a launderer. Whiter than any launderer could whiten. That was their language at the time. And he had visions with Moses and Elijah, and they were now ascended masters, supposedly. And he came back down. He became one. It wasn't a vision. He became one with his light body, like we're doing now. Transfiguration, resurrection, ascension. We're walking. We're transforming from the crystalline from the carbon crystalline into the light bodies, becoming our light bodies. That's why we call light to ourselves. That's why we work with light. All the different spectrum of the rainbow of colors in the great white light. Whew. Meditate on light, God. Saint Germain says. Light is the alchemical key. Meditate on light. I love the light. I'm a child of the light. I serve the light. I'm illumined, protected, sustained, satiated, supplied by the light. And you're going to learn the teachings and the mysteries of the wisdom of the light. And yes, they often, you see on YouTube and all this, there's all these teachings about facing your shadow, learning to, you walk with your darkness and your light. So, you know your shadow and your light. Well, yeah, there's a lot to that, of course, when you're facing that we have that polarity, because you walk along and everywhere's a shadow. The sun, trees, there's shadow. The sun shines on you, you have a shadow, symbolically. But yeah, we have a shadow. We have a dark side. Every emotion has the opposite: love, hate, greed, generosity, selfishness, selflessness. Power hungry, humility. Right? So you do have to do that. All that. True. But the Ascended Masters' teachings do not go into that. Nope, they do not go into that. They walk in the light only. They walk only in the light. They teach you to only walk into the light. And why is that? Because they say on our octave, if you want to walk in our octave of the higher consciousness realm, the highest levels you possibly could on this earth, you can't bring any of that darkness with you. We couldn't let you through the door with any darkness. So maybe that's why it is you're facing that shadow, so that you integrate it, so that you're not afraid anymore, so it doesn't have any power. That's what it is. So you don't have any, so it has no power over you. So you can just call everything light. Be the greatest master. You've mastered the light and the dark. You've mastered your emotions. You've mastered shadow self and higher self, beyond shame and blame, beyond ego, guilt, beyond lower and higher, beyond judgment, beyond right and wrong, light and dark. You go into the oneness. The yin yang, they're two sides of the same coin. So then, you've mastered it. You've mastered the third dimension. You skipped up into the fifth dimension and beyond. And now you can travel to the higher realms. You can travel to the mystery schools on the etheric planes. The great etheric retreat of the Teton Mountains. Shasta, like I was telling you about. Receive teachings. But they don't let that darkness in, because they said we do not walk in duality. Because if that got in here, it would completely taint us, and we would be duality again. Why do we want that? The freedom is beyond duality. Whew, I'm letting you have it today. I'm going to tell you one more story, and I'm done. First, I'm going to sing and see if I even feel like telling that story, because I am toasty. Thank you for God showing me the vanilla bean extract. the real, not the imitation, but the real stuff, completely, I put it on me and completely kept the mosquitoes away, and the mosquitoes we're talking, the worst I've seen all summer. Not one on me. They might come by my ear and move on. So why did I tell you all that stuff? Why was it so deep today? Because my guides told me, bring it on, Jeff. Golden Sun, White Horse, it's time to bring it on. It's time to bring it on. People need it now. Why? Because there's a great cosmic, some people talk about this thing called the solar flash. You can look it up on Facebook. We're getting these mass coronal injections, these sun flares, reaching higher than ever, 82 the other day, 100 a week ago, higher than they've ever been. Hitting the Schumann resonance at those numbers. 20, 30 years ago, the Schumann resonance was at, not even that long, maybe 10 years ago, was 7.8 hertz, and now it's reaching 100, so 100 years ago it would have burned us all up. We wouldn't even have made it. It just shows you how much we're changing, growing, our DNA awakening, and our cells advancing into light body. And when and there's a huge one coming. It's called the solar flash. It's been designed, agreed upon by all the councils of heaven, the cosmic councils. They said this, when the humans get to a certain level, when they think it's the darkest of times, but we're really ready to become the highest of times. This solar flash is going to hit the planet. They call it solar flash. And in a blink of an eye, or however long it takes or whatever, it's going to be such a flash that we may forget our past. We may forget all the darkness we've been through. We may enter such a high timeline that it may become heaven on earth. Right then and there. We know it's coming because all of the new financial system, quantum financial system, the quantum computers are coming online now. The Sara Gasara, the med beds, heal anything, possibly. Even the military said that they used it to regrow limbs on the battlefield. Could never prove that. With all the guys missing limbs from Afghanistan, Okay, so this consciousness raising, the Ascended Masters returning through these teachers. Ceremonies everywhere, the plant medicines, ayahuasca, people reaching the cosmic consciousness everywhere. All the young people know. They know media and what's the past is all lies, bullshit. You got to get your knowledge and wisdom from Telegram, Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute. War on consciousness, guys. That's what we came for, and that's what's changing. And so, the solar flash is coming, so we got to get ready. And the more people that can hear this, the more people that can think that there's even a remote possibility that there's something to what he's saying. Then your consciousness will be ready. You even have the remotest possible belief in some part of your brain, some part of your heart. God, I wonder if that's even possibly true. Then if something happens, boom. It's not easy. It takes time too. I mean, there's consciousness switch, but to take time to re-educate the world and rechange the money system and rechange the medical system and rechange the educational system and rechange the social system and the military. But the truth is, this has been going on for decades behind the scenes. Our money is going to change. Everything's going to change. Freedom, equality for all. Authority of freedom. The freedom of love. The freedom of peace, the freedom of harmony and happiness, innocence, perfection and purity. Hey ho, hey yo, hey yo, hey. Hey ho, hey yo, hey yo, hey, hey. Hey ho, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey. Hey ho, hey ho, hey yo, hey yo, hey. Hey yo, hey yo, hey. Hey ha ho, hey ho, hey ha ha ho, hey. Hey ha ho, hey ha ho ho, hey ha hey ho. Ho ho ho. Hey ha ho, hey ha ho, hey. 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 Hey ha ho, hey ha ho, hey ho. Hey ha ho, hey ha ho, hey. Hey ha ho, hey ha ho, hey ha ho, hey ha ho, hey. Ho hey. Ho hey ha ho, hey ha ho, hey ho, hey ha. Hey ha ho, hey ha ho, hey ho, hey ha. Hey ha, hey ha, hey ha, hey ha. Hey ha ho, hey ha ho, hey ha ho, hey ha. Thank you for giving me my life force back. Thank you for saving me. Thank you for blessing me. Thank you for renewing me, protecting me, inspiring me, nurturing me, God, consciousness, all that is. I am presence, ascended mastery levels. I'm so grateful. I'm so happy. I'm so forgiving of the dream, nightmare, illusion, paradigm shift, simulation I put myself through. Hey ho ho Why did we do it? Why did we go through all this? Why have we suffered from the lowest to the highest with the rest of humanity and the Mother Earth? Oh, it's said that we wanted to be the greatest masters, that we wanted to become our highest potential, highest trajectory, highest versions of ourselves, avataric selves, highest self, I am presence, walking in physical body. Hey ha ho, hey ho ho, hey ho ho, hey ho, hey ho, hey ho, hey ho. And this is what it took. And this is what it took. And all that is what it took to change us, changes, 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 changes. Multitude of ego deaths, multitude of failures, multitude of times falling off the horse, getting back on it, the multitude of becoming new and improved versions of ourselves, reinventing ourselves over and over and over, awakening endless new aspects of ourselves, DNA, brain power, heart fire, brain wisdom management fire, I am presence, host of ascended master fire, shaman high. As they're listening now, as they're aligning to us now, as they're sending their dispensation, their radiation of their particular power, whichever a master that you set up with, Saint Germain, Katumi, Christ, the Buddha, Lady Nada, Mother Mary, Mahachohan, Katumi, Divine Director, Sanat Kumara, the Mahatmas, the Kumaras, the gods of the mountains, the elementals, trees, fire, water, earth, and air, stone people, grandmother ocean, beings of the sea, crystal core of Mother Earth, crystalline grid around the planet. Archangels, Elohim, Seraphim, Cherubim, cosmic beings, great cosmic light, Pleiadians, Sirians, Lyrians, Andromedans, Arcturians, Cassiopeians, four royal stars, the Venusians, Shne, central sun, Heyaha, the secret love star, Namak, Ani, Ishmeanik, Ana, the Great Dipper, Ukashne, Maakana, Ani, Shine, Great Bear, Unamaakane, Ishine, Namako, no, Nanamo, Nanako, Nanao, the great beings of inner earth, Agartha, Martha, Shambhala, Shangri-La, the Russians call it Beladovia, the Buddhists call it the Pure Lands, Ushne, Ninima, beyond the Antarctic wall, Inshne, Ini, Mohune, Anamo, Akane, Ishine, Inima, Admiral Byrd's Diary, Heya Kunama Kanish, Ini Ma Kana Ma Kishini, Nanama, Honana, Honamani, Ini Namana, Ganish, Namana, Kana, Ishini, Noma, Konana, no, Ninamaka, Onamane, Kishini, Ninamani, Kushini, Namaka. Onamaka namaka ani no maka nishi na 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 ho ha 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 ho. Plant medicines like the peyote, the sacred psilocybin mushrooms, the sacred toad, the bufo toad, many plant medicines around the world. Ayahuasca, Hape Rape, the Datura of the Southwest, Datura. These are all given to us to help us go beyond the mind, go beyond duality, go beyond the split of duality, left, right, up, down, back into the oneness, the knowing, the expansive consciousness, the greatness of. We can see beyond duality, we can see beyond right and wrong, good and bad, and all that. That we are one heart, one mind, one spirit, one cosmos, one earth, one people, no colors, no separation, no division of the sexes, ageism, and that's God. That's God. Although we are individual sparks of God, we are individual sparks of God. Our uniqueness. No fingerprint is alike on this earth. So how fun is that? How fun is that? We get to be unique here. But when we do the plant medicines or ceremonies in the Native American Church, we become a oneness. Pure love. We come out of there in the morning, feel like you never felt ever in your life. Yo wanna ho, yo na ne yo, yo wanna we no hey ne yo. Abdo ya Buddha, ya wanna ya na yo we no, ya wanna ya na yo we no, ya wanna ya no hey ne yo. Yo wanna ho, yo na ne yo, yo wanna we no hey ne yo. Abdo ya Buddha, ya wanna ya na yo we no, ya wanna ya na yo we no, ya wanna ya no hey ne yo. Hey yana, yo wanna hey yana, yo wanna hey. Hoshimana wo hey yana, Hoshimana wo hey yana, yo wanna, yo. Hoshimana wo hey yana, Hoshimana wo hey yana, hey yana, yo wanna hey yana, yo wanna hey. Hoshimana wo hey yana, Hoshimana wo hey yana, yo wanna, yo wanna. Hoshimana wo hey yana, Hoshimana wo hey yana. Without the mosquitoes, I could stay all day. And they asked me to share one more story. And this is a mind blower. It'd take a long time if I told you all of it. My first wife, Mary Thunder, and I, 1986, we had a rollover car accident. Flipped it 3 times. She yelled, "Grandfather!" Name for spirit. I had a blue light come around me. I wasn't hurt at all. The windows blew out. The dog wasn't hurt. She took on the hit. She had some bruises. She had some cuts on her leg and her head. So We go to the hospital. Well, we had friends near Atlanta, Georgia. We stayed with them. One of the nights in the middle of the night, she was recovering. She woke up in the middle of the night and started talking to me in a very little girl kind of voice, but it was some other being I'd never heard because she channels spirits a lot of times. And she said my name over and over again, which was some strange name. I'm so glad to be here in the physical with you. I'm so glad to be here. Oh my God, I can't believe it. We get to be together. Huh? We're married on this other level of consciousness. I said, what is this? She come every night for a long time, and it went on for years. And my wife at the time could not remember any of it, so I'd have to tell her in the mornings. Back then, we were always traveling, battling evil. Everywhere we go, we'd open up the ceremonies. We'd go into Chicago and Arkansas and New York, and there was a lot of density and darkness. Come through and bring in that Chinoopa and that peace pipe and the wisdom of the ancestors and Pleiadians. Open those gates, open them, push out all that darkness, and all these people would get all this enlightenment. All these people would get blessings and awaken rise their consciousness. And then we would leave, close the gate, the doors. We'd head out of town right away because the negativity would start again. Because we had, when you do ceremony, you open the gates, you open the doors, and the high level beings can come in, but it does close. But over time, people work on themselves. I got to put some vanilla on my head again for the mosquitoes once I took my head off. So this being, I'm not going to say names, what they call themselves, but she said that, so she would tell me in the middle of the night what was going to go on. I started recording it on a recorder. Back then, cassettes. Over the years, I've lost them all. And in the morning, I would play them for her. And she would tell us what we were going to deal with, because we traveled for 4 years without a home. And what we were going to run into. We had a couple students at different times with us. We had traveled with a van. And she would tell, and this aspect of her would tell us what we were going to deal with in this town or the next day. And it would prepare us to, and so we would pray and visualize and do all this and get all ready. And then, so we'd work it all out before the event. And when the event happened, it would just completely smooth, not a problem, nothing would happen. So we worked out the density and the darkness prior. We transmuted it. Alchemical workings, even back then. So I would gradually ask, what is this? Where does this come from? I guess right away, I'm sure. And she said, oh, sometimes, she talked like this, sometimes we're in the inner earth, and sometimes we're in the crafts up in the air. And it's like, what? Well, she said that we had children down there, and 3 children, we were married, all these teachings. She said, I'm the queen of the day and you're the lord of the night, astronomer priest. And she was the queen that ran the kingdom during the day. So I guess she was talking about some lifetime and reflected in something about where we were here. And that she was the leader during the day. She was older, she was a teacher, she was a real native person. But up there, I was the leader. That's what she said. I didn't know if I was going to share that or not. So then, she said that we would travel around, we'd meet all these elders and people, and she would say, she'd meet the elder first time, and she'd say, that person's one of us, that person's one of us. I said, what? And then sometimes she would say they had a name for the dark side, and she would say, dark side. She would come through, I guess this aspect would come through her and tell me all this knowledge. And one of her students one time was sitting next to us in a pipe ceremony, and one of the students, she was around for a long time, she said, she leaned over to me and this girl, and she said her name, she said, she's on the ship with us. She's on the ship with us. And that's all she said. She went back to whatever she would. And I knew a little bit, so that still shocked me. But this girl, could you imagine? She was blown out of the water. She's like, what? She didn't know any of this stuff. What are you talking about? Oh my God. And there were several different comments or teachings made about that. And I would ask, she'd come in the night, she'd say, ask better questions, ask better questions. And I'm 22, 23, 22, 24 years old. I don't know. So I don't remember the core teachings. It wasn't like prophecies, but it was what we were dealing with at the time, you know. And she had these abilities, and she was giggle all the time and laugh and call me by the certain name. And she'd say, you're so regal up there. You're so regal. She said, but then she'd say, you're so arrogant. You're so arrogant. And at different times, I was like, what? I said, how could it, if that's an aspect of myself, a higher divine aspect, how can you be regal and arrogant at the same time? It's I didn't get it. And so, and maybe it was my ego down here, which I didn't have an ego. I had a negative ego, not, you know, I don't know. People never said that about me. Gentle. They always say I was gentle. I get angry like anybody, but I was never called arrogant and egotistical. Just saying in my own defense. But I think the whole teaching was keeping me from ever being like that. You know, no matter, the masters say, no matter how high you rise, you better keep a very humble attitude. You better keep very humble, sincere, and always honoring of the I am presence in the ascended master host, because all the gifts you have come from them. All this teaching today comes through them. All of this stuff, how could I know all this stuff? It's coming through me, guys. And so they wanted me to share, offered to let me, you know, as an opportunity to share this for the first time. And over the years, it gradually went away. We had a lot of tapes, and we didn't tell people publicly, but she would always come through the ceremonies, and all these magical things would happen. And we had a very magical organization for 16 years, 40-acre ranch, traveled around the world, taught, made a lot of differences for people's life. Did Sundances 17 years in a row. Had many 50 or so Sundancers change their lives and their families' lives. We sponsored. You got to sponsor Sundance. You got to get sponsored. Where somebody, the elder or the people, family watches over you, helps you all that time. And so she had these abilities. Like one time she said, you know, I could touch you in a certain way where you couldn't even move if I didn't want you to. I'm like, what? Yeah, right. I'm young and strong. And she reached under my back. She touched me somewhere on the spine or something. I could not move my arms or legs at all. I think, and she's giggling, laughing. I'm like, cut it out. I got mad. She, let go of me. Oh, I can't believe that. She let go, and all of a sudden I jumped right up. It's like, there's a couple beings on YouTube that talk about the inner earth, the real teachings, very few. I don't know much about it today, except what comes through me is all connected. I've never heard the Ascended Master say they're in the inner earth, but this is a consciousness. I never knew, she never said, are you Star Nation? What, no, stars, you know, because there's a lot of beings in inner earth from the cosmos on that realm, the 5th and 6th, 7th dimensions that are down there. When you start studying it, you hear the channelings. But I always thought it was Pleiadian because we were always so giggly and cute and funny and playful and joyful and kid-like. Always. And the native people are so humorous and fun. And one of the greatest aspects, they say the 4 sacred teachings: honesty, humility, harmony, and humor. And horniness for you medicine people out there. It's a 5th of horniness. And what does that mean? That just means that it's the earth people. The wisdom of the cultures of the earth is very much earth energy. That's that kundalini, the energy from the earth coming up the spine, that kundalini. You know, if you don't run it through and use it like true kundalini unit pranayama and run that energy properly and turn it into the torus field or put it into your Merkaba and spin your Merkaba and use it for prayer and use it for helping the earth and sending out light and love and healing energies, well, it's going to come out another chakra. It's going to come out other chakras. You know, we worked very hard during those years to get over anger and victimization and sex addiction and sex, power, ego, money addictions. I've been on my path since I was 22 years old, working continuously. So I work through most of that stuff. I mean, it's, temptation or whatever, lessons can get to you, but you stay on your road. That's why you stay in your own lane. Follow your path. Walk your road. The road of that pipe, very narrow. It's like a razor's edge. Whew. Time to, so you stay close to stay in prayer. If any discord comes, Send a Master say, and I've heard Paramahansa Yogananda in his book Autobiography of Yoga said, whenever discord and chaos would start, those guys would all drop into meditation. Go into the inner, go into the I am, go into the prayer, go into the pranayama breathing, out of the mind, back into the heart, running the energy up the spine, balancing the hemispheres, exercises, slowing down the breathing, slows down the brain, slows down the breath. You come back into whole brain thinking, you come back into the heart and mind connection, connected with the higher realms, inner center of Mother Earth, into the heart. And like Paramahansa said, and whenever chaos would happen, because they travel a lot and taught all around the country and the world, and when they come out of meditation, chaos would be all over. The discordant energies, the distractions, the destructive energies would be gone. Because you change your realities. Because we can change reality that fast. We're creator beings. We can change reality that fast. But sometimes it takes the time of going into meditation, going into prayer, going into your faith, calling on the Ascended Master, calling the I Am Presence first, always. Ascended Masters, the Elohim, 7 Elohim, their seed is in the forehead. They have we have an aspect, cells of the forehead, because they live in the higher realms, and they'll be with us. Like calling the angels, calling Christ, calling God, Mary, Holy Spirit. Okay. I was going to go do yard work today for a lady for extra money, because, cost of living, rent going up, and food, and living by yourself is very hard these days. But I couldn't make it. Had to do this instead. Hope she's not mad. I'll show up tomorrow. In this heat. Only reason I got a jean jacket on is because of mosquitoes. We ho hey yo hey, hey ho hey ho hey. And I really want to make an offering where people can donate to me and help, because I struggle mightily every month. I struggle to make my rent every single month, and that's the first time I've ever told that to anybody. I have to borrow Paul to pay Peter every single month. Not proud of it, and it used to be hard and scary. Now I just have to trust God. God will take care of me. The I am, supply. Call it. You just got to be responsible. Call it down to you. We're not victims. I chose it to be this hard so that I continue to learn about that stuff. Learn from struggle. You learn how to be in your faith. Learn how to not let struggle overtake you, but to trust the universe, trust the oneness, enjoy life no matter what you got, no matter, if you got food today, and you got gas in your car, and you can get to work, and you can do this or that, or you got friends, you got love, you got happiness, you got the breath of life, and every breath comes from the God, from the I Am Presence, God consciousness. You're doing good, right? You're doing good. But I'm not good with, let's just say I haven't sat down and learned how to